You guys want to go ahead and call this July 17th Urbana Board of Trustees meeting to order? Guys, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and do a quick, stand up quick and get the pledge in. All right, doing the pledge of allegiance. You don't have to stand up. That's all. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys. Guys, Chief, you guys had a chance to look at the minutes and financial reports. You guys have any additions or corrections to them?
No, sir.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept both reports.
So moved.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes and the financial reports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All. I saw this too.
You just need to sign
Thank
that.
you. Can I borrow? Who's got the blue pen?
Here you go.
Got the blue one? Thank you. It's the mystery. You need to put this thing on
Keep it over there.
the string on it and the bell on it. Very good. Okay, some of this is going to go pretty quick. Let me just go ahead and knock some of this off. Start with Richard and his road reports. Richard's got the second round of mowing done, and he's mowed clear back to the crop line. Got everything washed, everything tractors put back together, and then just take care of all the other mowing. Sean, I'll let you go next. And we got the zoning and cemetery.
There's really nothing unusual. We've buried 4 people since April 20th, and going back to midway in April, we've done 7 zoning permits, mostly for storage barns. One's a home addition, a couple decks, so 1 lot split.
Is a copy of that? Oh, I got it. I take it too. I didn't know if I put a copy up.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sean. Keep on moving on here, guys. Anybody have any old business to bring up in front of it? Is that a no?
No,
Matt,
sir.
me, Sandy, you got any old business?
No.
Okay, go ahead and move on to new business. And we're going to start with Brad Bowden on. Brad's with LUC, and thank you for coming down. And
Sure.
he's our support person and Sean's go-to guy. So we've got a request from Van Crest. They want to do some expansion on their facility, but this goes beyond starting an enterprise zone. So tonight we're just addressing how to get everything right on zoning, and now I'm gonna leave that into Brad.
At the moment, I think, I can't speak for Sean, but I think, let's say at the moment, you're considering it to be grandfathered, right? So the use is allowed, but it's not necessarily able to be expanded if it's not a permitted or a conditional use. We looked at the code to help Sean, just as a second set of eyes. We didn't see where it was a permitted or a conditional use, like a nursing home facility. I could guess, or I guess kind of muse that maybe when it transferred from the county at some point and it went to Van Crest or however that transpired, we just didn't add to the zoning code to move from like some sort of public or quasi-public use to a nursing home in your book. Because you guys have public and quasi-public uses, but when it's a private enterprise running it, it still doesn't fall underneath that same definition. So in order to change that, you would have to add nursing home as a definition to your book, which is, I think, what you have there. Where you make copies of everybody. Yeah. So we did this over in Rush Township, had a similar situation where We gave them a definition for nursing home, so you have a use created, and then we talked about creating it as a permitted or a conditional use. It happens to be zone D1, so that's why you see just those 6 boxes from your schedule. Your schedule is that big table or big chart in your zoning book. So it's a simple amendment, assuming you want to make this amendment. This doesn't, we've just put this together so you had something for discussion, so it definitely doesn't mean that you have to do this, but it gives you the option to do it. I'm gonna snap a picture of this, so I got it over here too, Blair, so you can have it back.
Oh, no, you can keep that one, Brett. I think everybody's got a copy now. I've given one to everybody. Yeah, I give you one, didn't I, Sandy? Yes.
So what Aaron's done is he's marked up a calendar there for you. If
You guys have all got a calendar. Would you like to see that too?
Sure.
What's Aaron's last name?
Smith.
Smith?
Can I have that bottom sheet there?
So what he's done is he's kind of giving you some potential dates. So you have an option to say, we want to amend the zoning book, which is one process. You could also say, we don't want to amend the zoning book, but you could apply to Board of Zoning Appeals and ask for a use variance to be able to do a use that's not allowed. So you'd be varying from the code to allow that use. Or you could just say, we're not going to make this change. And I know they talked about annexing, not annexing, so they could just wait to go through that process and then work that through with the city. So Aaron's giving you a couple options here. This is September. Aaron's calendar is marked up for assuming you did it as a zoning amendment. So on June 17th, which is today, you guys could start the process. Then Sandy could certify what you guys do. There's a way to do it as the trustees where the fiscal officers certified the amendment. And so if you do that, we're willing to come and visit with Sean, Dan, and myself to kind of get things ironed out for the zoning commission. So if you start an amendment today,
That's the zoning commission at LUC, right?
zoning commission for the township. So Dan's
Okay.
the zoning commission for the township. So they would meet on the 24th, just the 3 of us. And then we have on July 2024 here, when you start a zoning amendment, it goes to the zoning commission, then they send it to us. Our deadline for our meeting date is July 1st. Then we would meet on July 11th. And the zoning commission could meet in that yellow area here between July 15th and July 26th. To get them to they have to have a hearing. It's noticed in the newspaper, and then they make a decision. So you get a recommendation from me at LUC, then you get a recommendation from Dan through the zoning commission, and then once you guys receive that, then you would also have to have a public hearing. Now we're assuming that if the process, now with that, you guys would have your hearing whether or not the zoning commission says, no, we don't think this is a good idea. Yes, we think it's a great idea. Whatever they decide, you still have to have a hearing. So we would need to advertise that hearing starting on the 26th. And then you all have to have your hearing by August 5th, because you have to have 10 days before. So the 26th would be the latest that you could advertise the trustee hearing. Then you all would meet August 5th. You'd make a decision, but the decision for you all for it to be effective has to be 30 days. So your decision, if you amend the book to allow it, would not be effective until September 5th, more or less. Now, if you make it a conditional use, which I think makes sense, that's why in September he has notes about going to BZA, because if you make it a conditional use, then they have to apply to BZA once you amend the book for a conditional use. So kind of the quick way of describing this is you all could start a zoning amendment tonight. If you do, we already have something set up, I believe, with at least me and Sean. I don't know whether Dan is aware of it.
2 o'clock on Monday.
That on my hand here so I don't forget.
I was gonna send you a text.
Oh, flawless.
Okay.
As long as there's not a pandemic and
Right.
hand sanitizer.
Dan has a buy-in on it, so.
So if you guys start an amendment tonight, we're gonna visit with Dan to get the certified amendment all knocked out so they can start their process on the 24th. He'd also have all his materials to submit to LUC. We'll have our meeting on July 11th. and the zoning commission will have their hearing sometime in July. They'll certify their decision to you. You guys will be able to have your public hearing on August 5th, and then your decision would be effective on September 5th.
That's quite the process, that
Yeah, it's,
length of time.
yeah.
And this version you described to us, is that a more of a streamlined version?
That's
Compared
about
to-
as quickly as that you could do at a zoning amendment.
I see. But if we went other ways, that we just didn't put it on here as a revision,
So if you said, we're not gonna make a revision, we like it the way that it is,
Uh-huh.
you can apply to Board of Zoning Appeals for a use variance
I see.
and see what they determine.
Uh-huh.
That could be a faster process,
Oh, I see.
but a use variance is harder to get
I see.
than a conditional use.
I'm just learning about it. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, no problem. We have like a little flow chart that you can use. We don't usually customize it on a calendar like this.
Yeah.
But it sounded like things were a little confusing, so we just did it.
Yeah,
that
that's
way.
great. It's been very helpful.
But BZA has to meet one way or the other, and they are the final step, right?
BZA would be the final step if you make it a conditional use. Now, you could just make it a permitted use.
Yeah,
But then there's not gonna be that extra level of review and thinking about like public services associated with a nursing home, if they had a new one, for example.
Mm.
That's why I wanted you guys to have this material a few minutes, because it's hard to look this up, but I didn't want to throw this on. So thank you guys for coming out this morning and just picking this stuff up just so you could look at it. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense to you, but
You're also welcome just to read the revised code, which I promise is not as friendly looking.
well,
The revised code is not as friendly looking as this.
at least gave them an opportunity so they didn't get thrown at it blind. We didn't get to talk. Well, we couldn't talk about it, but I wanted them to at least, be able to start wrapping their head about it a little bit. So Sean and I have talked about it. Of course, we were at the meeting at the county, and that's the other thing that we should add. I mean, it's there's a lot of steps to this. I mean, this is
It's the exact same process we did when we accepted or changed the map.
yeah.
Right.
Same process.
But and Sean, I appreciate the thing that I was getting at. I mean, it's still got to go through hearings with the commissioners, with the school board. I mean, if they don't get the abatement that they want, I mean, they might not even do any of this. I mean, all we're trying to do here basically is just trying to get our book right. Is that correct, Brad?
You're just trying to decide whether you want to allow nursing homes as a conditional use in your U1 district.
Correct. So there is so many. Rich Ebert, which runs the CPA or CPE, I guess. I think he told Van Crest this is the first step of a million. That might be a little exaggeration, but there's a lot of steps to this.
Yeah.
And we're way down the food chain. I mean, way down the food chain. So we're just, for Sean to be able to write a legal permit, I mean, this has to be resolved one way or the other.
If you don't pass it, then they can't do any additions.
Correct.
So,
Or even demolition of a wing and construction of a new wing, right?
Right. And I personally don't care what you guys decide to do. I just need to know what I'm allowed to do legally. Right now, I can't write the zoning permits. I can't give them permission to do any of that at this point.
But going back to what Shonda says, and I'm sorry I never asked for discussion with all you guys, but I did want to make this clear. If they don't get some of the abatements that they want, they're not going to do anything. So, this could be all for moot for all we know. So,
You can also start the process and then you can decide not to change it at the end of the process.
Yeah.
So when your September or August meeting comes around, you can say, you know what? We started it, but we thought about it and we don't want to approve it. And that's okay too.
Roger, go ahead. You were going to say something. Now you're
Well, I think we need to start it now, today.
So is that,
I'm gonna
you're going to move to,
move that we do this. You've got a copy of, I think, that amendment to Urbana Township zoning resolution identified as Exhibit A and attached here to be hereby initiated by Urbana Township Board of Trustees on the 17th day of June, 2024. You got a copy of that, Sandy?
yeah, she does.
Oh, wait, no, I think that I handed him what was,
Yeah, that one.
I just want to sit in here.
Yeah, we're copied out. First of all, I need a second for this motion.
Yeah, as one of the trustees, I'll second that motion as well.
Now, guys, let's take a moment. Let's discuss this before we've not discussed other than what you just heard
Mm-hmm.
about this. And what I've interjected. I want you guys to voice anything that you.
I think Brad was very clear,
Yeah.
and appreciate you coming and telling us that, Brad.
The downside to doing it is it opens us up to having additional nursing homes. And the issue that I have as a resident with Van Crest is how many EMS runs they have. And that's driving the township's EMS rates up because most of it happens at Van Crest. So long-term, after we're all gone, if it's in there, then somebody can go online, look it up, and decide they want to develop another one.
It still has to go through us though, so we have a.
It does, but that's what we're doing. Right
Yeah.
now, it can't be done.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling Bancrest that they can't tear anything down, they can't build, because it's not allowed. I don't have a dog in the fight.
Go ahead, guys.
You think it's interesting why it's not in there now?
Well, it's grandfathered,
Grandfathered.
and
Oh, okay.
why there were other zones written, or at least one other zoning permit, I don't know. It should have been, because it wasn't one of, yes, it was a grandfathered in thing before we had zoning,
Okay.
but when you go through the book and look at it, and they're not allowed to be there, grandfathered in can stay exactly the way it is. As soon as they make a change, then they have to comply with current zoning resolution,
Okay.
which is why it came up. I could have ignored it and went ahead and wrote the zoning permits, but that's not what's in the book.
Well, we appreciate you not doing that.
So,
Thank you for. The other thing that this is discussion. They have requested to be annexed into Urbana City. We cannot push them out. We cannot suggest what they do. They have went and asked to be annexed. If that will help us in the long run, alleviate some of our burden of this, why not make it convenient for them to leave us? And not that we don't like them and not that we don't welcome them, but if this is going to benefit everybody, then, and they're requesting us. When I met with them, the first thing they said, how do we get into Urbana? And they've already started that whole process. So.
Would this all be moved if they moved into Urbana?
Brad I'm giving that to Brad.
So when the city annexes something, there's a way for them to change the zoning as it comes in. But if they don't do that, it also comes in under the township zoning.
Oh.
So if they annex it without changing the zoning, then it's going to come in under your zoning. So then they would be
Okay.
enforcing your zoning book in the meantime until they change the zoning district. So they could annex a piece of property in, Union Township, for example, and then that one in Urbana Township. And if they never rezone it, then they're always going to be operating under the zoning book for the township at the time that they annexed it.
I didn't know that.
That's a good question. Guys, you have any more discussion? Again, this is just the start. We'll have a public hearing and we'll get to hear from anyone else.
The only thing we definitely need for the 24th is a copy of the certified resolution with Sandy's signature on it. So this is the certified copy of the resolution, so you all three will need to sign it and put your votes and the resolution number and all that good stuff. Then we'll have to have Sandy's certification. Otherwise, I think we have the materials we need, as long as you maybe give us one of these, and then that should just go right behind the resolution.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and proceed to vote then, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna ask it one more time. Is there any other discussion?
No.
Because
No.
I know we can't, we don't get to talk about this, but so now I've got questions. He's the man.
Yeah, exactly.
So if not, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor of accepting the resolution as written, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Do we need we all three of us. Yeah, they're supposed to mark yes or no.
Let me put the-
Where you heading next?
Goshen, yeah.
Goshen. Fire there?
What's that?
Says, is there a fire put out there too?
They started something about, no, theirs is about shipping containers.
Okay,
Really?
yeah, we need to talk about that too. So we're gonna piggyback on that, I think, when,
You can steal from them. They're wanting to allow people to use them as like a store and accessory building.
Okay,
If I'm right.
so write your.
So that could be a
uses,
garage,
and
that
then
could
write
be a
your
shed,
name and then sign.
whatever.
he's gonna be firing you up.
Yes.
I wanna know what they come up with. Is that something I want to do?
Okay.
We're not gonna get rid of them.
Mhm. That's something
And
kind of like Goshen and Union, so.
they're happening.
What are we,
So-
are they just chatting?
They're just having,
Okay.
they're just having
I think
zoning,
it's actually more
Oh, okay.
secure than a wooden
they're both nerds.
shed.
Yes.
So,
I understand.
but you gotta put some guidelines.
Mhm.
Because there are some out there that are just sitting on the dirt and they're gonna sink in pretty quick and not be usable. And so, some kind of footing. Whether you want 40 foot or 20
I
foot,
guess we should,
there are high.
You gotta put the vote.
Yeah, your vote, yeah, guys.
Have to stack them, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Here's,
so,
She
those
told
are
me
all
not to
things
go.
that we need to put in writing.
what's that?
She told me that
Because right now, I
I'll
Check
do
it.
not write
do
it
it
up,
first.
yeah, put yes.
but it is what it is. I mean, they're everywhere. And again, I think they're more secure than a regular wood shed,
Mhm.
so I don't have a problem with it as long as it doesn't look like trash.
I've seen people put windows in them too. You guys can only do so much on architectural standards and landscaping, all that kind of good stuff, so we just have to think about it.
Cassini.
I've seen in Columbus, they use them in breweries.
Mm-hmm.
They use little, like a bar area.
Really?
Yeah, looks pretty neat.
See, here's one of these.
There's one downtown Columbus. Jackie O's.
This-
What is it?
Well, one
It's
of
a
them I'm
brewery
gonna put
downtown
with our original,
They
I'll
use
put
this
this
storage.
one with our
Oh.
original.
Okay,
They use
good,
this
Then
because
I'm
that's,
gonna keep him
because that's got the two
For
words that we gotta
bars.
add, nursing
Okay.
home.
Within there.
Because all this is for
Restaurant.
two words,
Oh, okay.
nursing home.
I've never been to one, so I don't know.
Kind of neat, yeah.
I'll give you back that one then. Okay, Brad.
Great.
And again, she wants to hold on to that until Danny gets it and then,
I would just give a copy to Sean, and
Okay.
then we'll use that on Monday.
okay,
Because we have other stuff that Dan has to fill out, like, we make you do a letter, and a checklist, when you send something to us, that's a little bit onerous for some people. We used to just get stuff on a scrap of paper, hey, we changed the zoning book, let us know what you think. Doesn't really quite cut it, you kind of have to have something organized like this, so you can see what you're doing real clearly. So we usually try to help put stuff together for the township, so we'll have them do the checklist. on the letter.
yeah. Aaron gave me all that to drop off to Dan, so.
Oh, great, okay,
Yeah, so I put that in his, I called him and said, you got some package in your mailbox.
cool.
Okay, I just wanna make sure, so there's my copy, but then this, they get the original of certifying that that is a copy.
That's perfect.
So that goes to Sean, right? Then you'll do something with the zoning commission with it? Those are, okay,
Okay, yeah.
With the animal Monday.
okay,
Thanks,
perfect.
Andy.
Yes, thank you.
You do not have to sit around for any more of this. Go get you,
Let me give these back to you so I don't take them.
yours? Okay. You sure you don't need them for yours or Aaron's got something? Okay.
Wonderful.
See y'all
Thank you so
later.
much.
Thank
Go get something to eat.
Appreciate it.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
One thing before,
Yeah.
again, when we vote on this up at the executive meeting, then I just recuse myself from this, is that
Yeah.
right?
So when you come to ours, I would just abstain, and if
Okay.
you want to recuse yourself and walk out, sometimes people do that. It's up to
Okay.
you. You can probably observe, but like Aaron had something where there was a rezoning near his house, so I told him that he should really get up and leave. So then they were giving him a hard time about maybe making him leave. the room. It is up to you. You
Okay.
can vote on it too if you want to. It wouldn't be a wise decision.
Oh, I'm
to
not
do that.
gonna, there's no need for me to vote on it. So, anyway, I appreciate that.
If I'm smart enough, I'll like look at you and be like, does anybody want to accuse themselves?
Thank
Kind of like stare at you, but
Okay.
it depends on if I'm operating at 100%.
Okay. Okay, buddy.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Brad.
Thank you.
Thank you. You can get out here too if you want, or it's up to you. You can stay in
If I'm
here.
done, I'm done.
You're done.
I'll
But
go
you're-
home and settle my ice bag.
Because it takes Miss Daisy about an hour to get out of the.
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Sean. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.
See ya.
Hey, Sean.
See ya. Bye. Thanks, sir.
He's coming slowly, but he's coming.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit more mobile.
Mhm.
Okay. Guys, anybody else got any other new business here?
Yeah, I do. I'd like to.
Yep.
Make a motion that we replace our two flags, one here at the township, one at the cemetery. The cemetery is not bad yet, but it's starting to get a little frayed. And I think this one here is definitely getting not so good. I'd like to make a motion that we replace them.
Thank you. It's been moved to replace the flags at the Township House and Center. Is there a second to
I'll
that?
second that one as well.
Appreciate that. And we'll add to any discussion to that.
No.
Well, like I was, this is and I've said this a couple of times. I mean, the chief has promised a new flag
I
for.
know.
He says, "I can get you guys flags." And so,
They used to do that every now and then, but then I don't do it anymore.
and that's why I said to him, I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh yeah, I got to drop them off to you." It's like, okay, but we can go ahead. But let's go ahead and vote on this, and if not, we'll just go purchase our own. Anyway, all those in favor of replacing the flag at the cemetery and Township House 65 saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? They all pass. Thank you, Roger. This is not really new business, but I want to bring it up anyway, and it kind of affects Sandy. We had a county meeting on the 22nd, and there was a list of things that were discussed. And one of the things that was most interesting, other than what people were charging, and which is always interesting to see if we're in line or not, but was going to be the change in House Bill 315. And that's going to be, the big thing is going to be the public notice to websites. That's going to be the main, if it passes, that's going to be the main thing to get out, to do your public notices to the township.
Everything? Wow,
Everything.
Nice.
It'll be nice. So if you have a website, that's going to be the way.
You mean, you won't have to
You don't have to
advertise
advertise
in
the paper. If you have a website, register your website,
Okay.
that's going to take that. If that passes, then if 315 passes.
You guys explained that to me a little bit more. How would that?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Roger. I'm not very good at explaining anything anyway, but House Bill 315 allows public notices to be now published to websites to meet zoning.
Allowable,
Yep.
not
You don't have to
mandatory.
use papers because they know that papers are now,
Done.
they're just, no one gets them anymore. So it's actually, more detrimental. It's better to have them on your website.
Okay.
There were some other things about in 315. It gives you a little. It's going to reinstate the indigent burial fund, 1.5 million.
Great.
Yeah,
I just looked that up because
Yeah.
we had an
I
indigent
know.
burial.
and guess where that came from? Trailer park. So down there. So anyway, yeah. And there's some other, but that was our main thing. And then again, they're going to actually raise the competitive bid from 75,000 to 95,000. So anything under $95,000 doesn't have to go to competitive bid,
Okay,
which,
That's surprising.
Yeah, that's
Just
surprising.
raised that.
I know, but they're talking to take it up to, well, I think it's inflation,
It's gonna go there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't, again, that all this can change. I'm just giving you that. But Heidi Fott, which is the, she's the president of Ohio Township Association, I met, just gave us a lot of information. I want to share one other thing about, and there's a lot of things, little things, but the main thing that I never knew, and maybe you did just going through that we do not have to supply EMS or fire to the township. if you collect taxes, you have to supply that.
I
But-
thought we had to supply fire,
No,
but not
no,
EMS.
that's was the big thing. I mean, everybody like ears perked up and everything else like that. No, she said, absolutely not. She says, if you have a levy and your levy, if you're collecting, you have to supply fire. If
Right.
you're doing fire and EMS, you have to do fire and EMS. But if for some reason we would fail at a levy, which if we have to raise more money, and that would be a choice. But we'd have to give up we're not allowed to collect anything through the audit or through taxes. That, I'm
Who
just,
said this?
Heidi,
thought?
yep. Mhm.
That's far out in my mind.
I'm just telling you, everyone about Chuck Dooley fell over himself about this. But she says it's a fact. She says that's the biggest misconception about we are not responsible, to supply that unless we're accepting or collecting taxes.
Well,
I'm not saying that. I'm just sharing it with you. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm just sharing.
I know, that's good,
Yeah.
but I still,
Yeah.
I missed that when I
Because-
wasn't here, but
Because
Heidi's pretty good.
that took probably a half hour. I'm at a vicious debate.
That's what I'm wondering.
About-
Would really
Oh, because some of them want an all county department to start and others don't. And the all county, again, I shouldn't be expressing my views, but there's something about an all county department that would be good. And
Well, I've always been, my comment is I've always been big on it. I think it should be.
at least all county on EMS. We could have a flat rate out. Because again, if you would have heard just the townships arguing with each other about, one township pays 1.5 mil, the other township pays 5.6. Well, if you want service from us, and it's kind of what the city's doing with us now. It's like, you guys should be paying what the city's paying, the city residents are, and it's like, we weren't causing the amount of runs, but kind of are now. But there's some interesting ways of looking at this. So we'll see how things work out. But that was just an item to share. I've talked too much. I'll shut up. Anyway, what was the other thing I was going to look at? If you noticed also with what Brad was talking, if this does go through and this starts passing through all the steps, we are going to have a meeting on August the 2nd, which is normally, I know we just passed we just made a motion to only have 3. In August, we'd only have a single meeting. We might have to have a special meeting on
Well,
that.
we'll know after next Monday.
Let's get the cart in front of the horse. So
You're assuming, it could be it could be later if the zoning commission isn't able to meet, or is
Correct.
it the zoning board or the commission?
the zoning commission.
If they aren't able to meet in that time frame, then it could bump it back. It's probably best to look at it. You'll know in July.
Correct.
When you need to have a
Yeah.
meeting.
I'm just giving you guys that as, if you look at that calendar, and
Yeah.
these things can blow up. I'm not kidding you. I'm on the executive committee on LUC, and I have never seen that many denials as I did last meeting. Usually there might be 1 or 2. I think denied about half of the things up there. So that was one of the best meetings I've ever had to, participate in. Because it's not just, it comes up and people say, okay, we passed that. There's quite a debate about some of this stuff. So nursing homes I don't know, but anyway, if everything goes in the road like he's done, we might have to have, I want to make you aware that we might have to have a meeting on the 2nd of August. And according to Jane, that could be a special meeting. We just would have a public meeting and we'd
Either
vote,
way.
and we just vote on that. We would not sign checks, and it would just be a special meeting for that. But that, again, that all has to be published, will be published, because it will be public hearing that day. Okay, so again, just for the record, our next meeting now will be on the 17th of July at 5 o'clock. And I'm going to take 5 minutes and give it to Dan and see if he's got any comments. Sir, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I didn't hear you at first.
No.
I wanted to say, I appreciated that you guys, just made the motion to replace the flags. It was very kind and thoughtful, because they've been pretty bad for a little while. And I just minorly disagree that the one at the cemetery is in need of repair also, or replacement. And I understand it's not quite as bad as this one, but these are exhibits 8 through 11 of that tattered flag there. And in talking with another member of the community, we agreed to purchase and donate new flags to the township for the flagpoles. And I wasn't sure of this size might be bigger than the other, so I got 2 sizes.
Thank you.
So Clayton Colbert was the other person that contributed to getting those.
Thank you.
Is that COLBERT?
Yes.
Okay,
it is.
thank you.
Nice.
Thank him, please. And we can send a card
I'll
out to
send a
him.
card.
And then I want to bring up this here regarding,
And I have those exhibits, they'll have to be part of the
I don't know what you actually called this building. These are exhibits 12 and 13, but out here, I just call it a shelter.
Mhm.
I don't know, if you have different, but I thought, why wouldn't that be an appropriate smoking shelter right there? It would be out of the workplace and would be completely, not off-site, but away from the building. I think just roughly, I guesstimate to be about 100 feet from the building, might be slightly less, but thereabouts.
Dan, what were those first things before you went to 12 and 13? Did you say 8?
8 through 11.
So is there a 1 through 7, or was that from the last meeting?
No, the 1 through 7 I was going to address about this flag.
Oh, okay, okay.
But,
So there is no 1 through 7.
there was, but I believe them or not. So
Okay.
I was leaving, but I think that's not relevant right now. On a different note, there's quite a number of photos here. This gentleman, this Clayton Colbert, had talked to me about the alley, or I don't know if it's actually a township alley or if it's part of Center Street. Looking at the auditor's website here on exhibit 36, it looks like it's an extension of Center Street that goes out to Route 36. And he's indicated that he has called in a number of times and left messages. He said many of them have not been returned. And he really wants to see about getting something done. I have these photos.
Hey, Dan, where's he calling at?
I'm sorry?
Where does he call? Here?
Yes.
Okay.
He said he left voicemails
Very
out
good.
here.
Very
Yes.
good. Okay. Thank you.
And these are photographs of, it's got horrendous chuck holes in that. And, I think that the township could have a lot of liability if someone gets damaged, especially now that notice has been made of the chuck holes.
Yeah, where does Clayton Colbert reside?
He resides on, I believe it's Twain Avenue. Here's his business card. That's where his shop is, called Golden Rim Tire.
It's the old motorcycle shop. It's very big.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, Steve McCall's actually looking at this already.
So but he had asked me to bring it up. And,
I appreciate that, but again, Steve McCall was looking at that because there is issues. The alley is not going to be ours to take care of, but he has told us that. But the thing that we got to address is that Mr. Colbert's property is actually over on state ground, which is what Steve's trying to get a easement off the state of Ohio. That's why we got to find out. They got to give us a ruling one way or the other. If you look at the auditor's site, you'll see that his driveway actually hooks into state property.
It does connect through there, and it appears as a continuation of Center Street.
We're not talking about the alley. The alley's an unimproved alley. The township is not responsible for that. Steve McCall has ruled on that. That is not our, it has never been improved, and so it does not have to be. If he wants to improve it himself, that's going to be his, and Steve will address this when he gets that final done.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just a couple other minor things, and not to be too picky about it, but some updates it looks like need done on our website, on your website.
Sure.
And these are exhibits 37 and 8. It just looks like several of the members of those commissions or committees, according to that, those commissions are expired. So it looks like they need to be updated.
Yeah, Matt's already took care of that today. I
And
think.
again, that's not
Didn't get done.
not meaning that at all disrespectful.
No,
No, this is, I did that.
yeah,
Those dates are all the zoning board members that are, the board, their terms are, need to be updated, that's all.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dan.
And this one, exhibit 39, is the Urbana Daily Citizen notice of Tuesday, May 28th, which was 15 days after the last meeting here. And you had previously said that your legal notices about meeting changes would appear in the community calendar. In the community calendar, 15 days after the meeting, and that there was a change, still indicated the first and third Mondays of the month. So,
I have no
sent her an
clue.
email, but I don't look at the community calendar, but I will email her again.
now it did finally
I did
change,
put a notice up on the wall, but I will
and I
email.
noticed it did change in the Tuesday, June 11th newspaper. So, I mean, that would have been just 6 days before this meeting.
What does it say in that one, Dan? Does it say what does it say that when it changed, it say the third Monday? Or, like, does it still say, it says Urbana trustees, 5 p.m. first and third Monday? Does it now say third Monday?
It does.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it does now. So, I mean, it seems accurate, as of last Tuesday.
Okay.
There are 5 minutes up.
Yeah, Dan, pick your most important one, boss.
I'm sorry?
Pick your most important one, please.
Okay. Well, I did want to ask about your recent change in taking 4 months of the year and only having half the amount of meetings. And so I was curious, will the township reimburse half of their wages back to the township since they're only meeting half the times?
I don't think we have. Go ahead, Brian.
Townships do not have to meet twice a month.
I understand.
We can decide to do once a month from now ever, until maybe new trustees come in and change it. We don't have to meet twice a month.
I understand that you don't have to, but hasn't that been the policy for years and years?
For some townships, yes.
And for this township as well?
I don't know about years and years,
Well, you've been on here how many years?
well, probably too long, but, is that all you have then?
No, it's not.
Well, we've given him 5 minutes.
Okay, and so that'll bring up another question. I've been allotted 10 minutes per month prior to this month because there have been 2 meetings. So that 5-minute rule is totally inappropriate. The rule should be at least 10 minutes from this point on.
Well, it's been 10.5 minutes right now.
No, it's not, because a lot of the discussion was from you folks and questions, not from me.
Well, again, it's 5 minutes per meeting, Dan, so it's going to stay at that. That's
I
up
mean,
to.
that's not surprising. These shenanigans that the Good Old Boys Club plays is very, very disrespectful and improper. And so the other question is regarding the hall rentals. You said that you were required to have a second fire exit or fire escape. Where is that?
It's there.
I'm sorry?
It's there.
They're going out into the shop?
Yeah.
Okay, so then if that's the case, then they would fire escape through the secondhand smoke area.
Well, number one, we haven't done anything because we haven't had anyone ask about the hall yet. So once we,
That's not my question. So
I'm
if that was the
giving-
case, that's what they would have to do. They'd be exposed to the secondhand smoke out in that shop.
we don't know. We haven't got to anyone wanting to rent the hall yet, Dan.
That's not the question. And if they do, that would be their exposure, correct?
If they do, then we're going to address how we're going to do that. We've got to have interest on it first.
I'm sorry?
We have to have interest in the hall first.
Mhm.
And so far,
But don't you think you ought to have of that interest of the public, you should have their best interest in mind, in their safety, in their well-being, and that should be done in advance of someone renting it and then making up that decision.
I don't know if is that secondhand measurable, Dan?
I'm sorry?
Is secondhand smoke measurable? If you walk out
You
there
can ask
now-
the state of Ohio.
If you walk out there now, I don't think you'll smell it.
I don't know. Sometimes you don't smell secondhand smoke,
Yeah,
but the effect of the secondhand smoke still lingers. And I mean, and that's just another shenanigan and a good old boys thing of trying to keep smoking permitted in this building. And that's an absolute disgrace.
okay, we appreciate it. Anything else, you guys? See,
I do have a final question.
Dan, your time's expired. Sorry, sir.
And so I see your solar lights on the flagpoles. Those are very nice. When was that approved
Proof for what?
to be done?
It wasn't improved. I mean, it was just done.
And at what expense?
It was a donation.
Okay. And who was the donation?
It was an anonymous donation.
I'm sorry?
It was an anonymous donation.
Okay. Mhm. And the signage,
Mhm.
when was that decided to change the signage?
it's been what, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I'd like minutes of that meeting, please.
I don't know that we have to change signs to where people enter the building has to be a motion.
I think, who spent the money for those signs?
It was another anonymous donation, basically, honestly.
So, but then when was the decision made to go ahead and install them,
Install what?
those signs?
Once again, I don't think we have to have
I
a
didn't
motion.
ask you if you think you have to have, I just asked when it was done.
Did you just not say 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago, so.
So I would like minutes of that meeting where that was decided to be done.
I think it was just more or less a revision just to clean up that sign that was there before. It was failing and we went ahead and updated it basically.
And so whose decision?
Well,
Um,
within the township, I guess, yeah.
yeah,
So I mean, was there a meeting then that the township agreed to do that?
Dan, again, we're not going to argue anymore about this because this is ridiculous. It truly is ridiculous.
I agree, it is
So-
ridiculous.
So again, Dan, we've given you more than ample time. So you're done.
I
okay?
understand your shenanigans and your good old boys club.
Dan, yeah, okay, whatever you say. So, you have anything else to add?
I don't have
Either of you guys?
No, sir.
Sandy?
Motion to do.
Yep. And if you have anything else, then we're going to, I need to entertain a motion to pay the bills and distribute the checks.
So moved.
And second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Thank
If you guys got anything else, take a motion to adjourn.
I move the adjourn.
And I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll get a hold of you.